Hi, everyone. It's great to see you at reInvent, and thanks for joining our session today. My name is Andrei Kotnikov. I'm a principal product manager in AWS Marketplace. I've been with AWS for 3 years, and I focus on building SaaS software marketplace. And with me today, Mira.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mira Ayad. I'm a senior manager for worldwide channel programs for Marketplace. I look after ISVs and consulting partners programs and enablement.
And in the next hour, we will talk about how AWS Marketplace can help accelerate SaaS software procurement and configuration. So let's look at the agenda today. We'll start with an overview of AWS Marketplace, and then we'll dive into the solutions that help to accelerate procurement. We'll talk about vendor insights. This is a solution which helps to streamline vendor risk assessment. This is our latest launch. It was announced yesterday. Then we'll talk about free trials and how it helps your developers to evaluate different software. Then we'll talk about the purchase order management and focus on the SaaS configuration. And we'll wrap up our session with how to get started with private offers in AWS Marketplace. And with that, I will pass to Mira to give us an overview of Marketplace.
Sure. Thank you, Andre. So if you're not familiar with Marketplace, Marketplace is we're building that to transform customer experiences on how they find, subscribe to, deploy, and govern not only software, but also machine learning models, professional services, and data. And AWS Marketplace, we've been in the market for almost 10 years, and we have tons of success stories that I will be sharing with you throughout the session today. We're doing all of that while keeping our eyes on the ISVs and the channel partners. We do understand that our customers would like to purchase from vendors and channel partners that they've been working with. And AWS Marketplace is now becoming that channel for our ISVs, our consulting partners, our data providers, and our solution providers and professional services. The majority of our ISVs and consulting partners, they use AWS Marketplace to acquire new customers, to migrate existing customers, and to grow their revenue. But we do understand that there is a transformation journey. IDC estimated that 75% of organizations are going to go through a digital transformation and procurement by the year 2023. When we were building those slides, I was thinking, 2023, and I just realized it's in a few days. And we do understand that this transformation, it takes a village, and we are here to help with that transformation. People might ask, why is this big push in transformation? And I can tell you that there's the vast majority of the drivers are there is a huge push in very creative IT solutions, disruptive technologies, the economics that we're working on, the increased digitally connected consumers, and we cannot forget the 20 million plus developers that are changing every business process into a software experience, not only for the consumer, but also for the taxpayers and for the supply chain. Early this year, Forrester has named AWS Marketplace a leader in their SaaS Marketplace report. The report evaluates 8 most significant providers in an industry across 10 criteria. Each vendor is scored as differentiated, at bar, below bar, or need development. AWS Marketplace was recognized as a leader in different areas of that study, and I will read them out because I don't want to miss any of them. We stated that AWS Marketplace is well suited for procurement executives and developers alike, and we were a leader in transacting, buyer interface, due diligence, assurance, management console, and roadmap criteria. The report states that AWS Marketplace not only is transforming the procurement to appeal for the developers, but also for the legal, for the procurement team, for those who want to have more control over how the transaction is happening. And while the organizations that we're working with are eager to transform, they want to do it safely, securely, and with a multitude of different partners than solutions that used across their enterprise. We, as AWS, we will continue to work from the customer need and work backwards and to develop more services. We recognize that large governments and enterprises have hundreds, if not thousands of vendors that they're working with them today to help them with that transformation. Customers like yourself told us, we want to be able to govern who spends what with whom. And we want to have that self-serve e-commerce experience for our users, but privately negotiate prices and favorable terms that suits our needs. And we were able to be able to curate such catalog and provide that type of experience for your user and for the department that would like to negotiate larger contracts and have their own terms stated in them. These are a set of problems that we worked backward from to create AWS Marketplace almost 10 years ago. Actually, 10 years ago and change. In April, we've had our 10-year anniversary. And in doing so, we have transformed the way enterprises worldwide find, subscribe to, deploy, and govern their software purchases, their professional services, their machine learning modules, and their data. And as I mentioned, we're doing all of that while becoming the main channel for our ISVs and our consulting partners and our channel partners to acquire net new customers, migrate their existing customers, and grow their revenue. How are we doing so? AWS Marketplace, we're currently, just to put things in perspective, we have over 13,000 transactable listings. We have over 325,000 active subscribers that have the choice to purchase directly from a self-serve fashion from AWS Marketplace, work directly with an ISV, or leverage any of our 1,300 channel partners that are currently transacting on Marketplace. Forrester earlier this year conducted a study to understand what is the economic impact of leveraging AWS Marketplace on large enterprises, and what's the value that AWS Marketplace can bring. The key takeaways that customers who have been leveraging AWS Marketplace were able to secure more than 75% reduction in vendor onboarding, 66% time saving due to procurement efficiencies, and 10% reduction in licenses costs. Because we have, and we've designed, and we're working on multiple license flexibility models that you can use. I encourage you to download the study. This is an active QR. Look at the findings. Do not just take my key takeaways out of it, and see how does that align with your enterprise and business objectives. How are we doing so? So I talked about flexibility of licensing. We do offer free trials that some ISVs have put together so customers and enterprises can try the software before they buy it. Trend Micro, Palo Alto, and CrowdStrike are some of the examples that have free trials on our AWS Marketplace. We also offer dimensional flexibility, so you can choose to buy software on an hourly or second basis. You can choose to pay monthly or be in a yearly commitment or even multi-year commitment if you are ready to have that long-term commitment on software purchases. One of the case studies that we're really proud of was Sony came to us with a very unique example. And it was a scenario that we've worked with Sony to solve. Sony wanted to have their own curated software catalog where their users can go and quickly pick and choose and deploy software that they want to use, but at the same time, they wanted to make sure that they are doing this safely, securely, and at a price point that Sony had leveraged to negotiate with other partners. What we've did is that we've worked with Trend Micro, and we've switched transformed Sony from having a traditional purchase order experience to leveraging AWS Marketplace private marketplaces, where we curated software that Sony has agreed that these are the ones that they want to have our end users have access to, and that the company was able to move that and reducing the procurement time from 60 days to minutes. That was a big benefit that Sony brought to us, and leveraging one of our key features, which is the AWS Marketplace private offers. And I'm going to give you a second here just to read the code that Sony had provided us. All right, with that, I'm going to switch to Andre so he can take us through his vendor insight. And I know that you have a demo for us, right?
Yes, I have actually a couple of demos here. Thank you for the marketplace overview. So the next part of this presentation, I will walk you through some solutions in AWS Marketplace that help streamline procurement and configuration for customers like Sony, and we'll get into the details of this. The first one is vendor insights. And I want to start with the customer problem that we consistently hear from our various customers, that the move to SaaS has increased the need for the vendor risk assessment. In the past, on-prem customers had a chance to isolate software in their network and firewall. And however, in the age of SaaS, this is not possible, because you do not control the SaaS backend and you don't have access to this information. And so to better understand how it works and the risk it presents, you usually have to reach out to the vendors and send out the long questionnaires, asking questions like, how will you protect my customer information? How do you encrypt data? What encryption keys are you using, etc. And questionnaires of hundreds of questions like this represent a challenge for the software procurement cycle, especially when you're operating at the enterprise level and dealing with hundreds of SaaS solutions. So that means that the procurement cycle can last months, because you need to request those questionnaires, you need to assess this data, and this can result in a shady procurement, which I believe you do not want when your developers will go around the existing procurement processes to speed up the cycle. And even when you get this data from the vendors, evaluating this at scale becomes a real challenge, especially when you have to update these evaluations on a regular basis. For most of the software, you do this at least annually. For the mission-critical software, you will do this more often. So AWS Marketplace vendor insights improve the procurement speed and trust by streamlining vendor risk assessment. Vendor insights is a single dashboard which gives you access to the security assessment information for each of the vendors that support the vendor insights profiles. So there are a few benefits of the vendor insights, and that's how we solve the challenges that I was talking about previously. First, you can quickly discover in Marketplace the products with security profiles. I'll show you in a couple of minutes how to do that. The second, it can speed up the procurement up to 8 or 10 weeks. This is a significant benefit for your procurement teams because they can focus on more valuable things they can do. And finally, you don't have to manually monitor and update the compliance because AWS is doing this on your behalf. So you don't have to rely on manual processes, and you can have a peace of mind that you will get an automated notification when something updates in the vendor's profile. So to summarize, that's how the vendor insights looks. I'll show you more details in a few seconds, but this is a single dashboard with summary of 125 key security and compliance controls, backed by evidence from these 3 sources. The sources are the automated checks that AWS is doing in the seller's SaaS environment. The second is an ingestions of the audited security reports like SOC 2 or ISO 27001. And the third source is the self-attested answers, the questionnaires that AWS collects on behalf of our customers and fills it in the vendor insights profiles. For the automated checks, we refresh this weekly by checking the vendor's AWS environment with our integration with AWS Audit Manager and AWS Config. This results in giving you validated security and compliance information, replacing lengthy self-attested spreadsheets. And that helps you to streamline procurement by 8 to 10 weeks. Getting started with vendor insights is very easy. When you go to Marketplace, go to search. And on the left side, in the filter, you will see a security profile checkbox. Select it, and it will show you all the products that have the security profiles available. Today, we have, I believe, 40 products that support as of today, and you will identify them also in search through the special badge which says Vendor Insights. When you go to the product detail page, you can review what type of certification they provide and what kind of security profiles are available to you. That will be at the bottom of the page. But to access this information, you can click View Assessment Data button in the buy box. This will take you to the Vendor Insights dashboards in the console. And it looks like this. On this snapshot, you can read and get access to the most critical information. But to get access to the full profile, you need to click the Request Access button and fill in the NDA with the vendor. And usually, very quickly, vendors provide access to those dashboards, and then that's how the Vendor Insights dashboard will look like. You can access it for 60 days since the moment you get access, unless you have purchased the software. If you purchased, you will always get access to this dashboard. Here, you can review the security compliance information, review what security standards this vendor supports, and other critical information which can help you make a purchase decision, which can help you continuously evaluate after you purchase the software. I encourage you to get started with Vendor Insights today. Here is a QR code. This is a shortcut to the search results, which will show you all the vendors which supports Vendor Insights today. And here are some of the brands of third-party SaaS software that supports Vendor Insights. Next, and if you have questions about Vendor Insights, please, we'll have a product manager outside of this room after the session if you want to ask questions. Also, feel free to stop by at the AWS Marketplace booth at the Venetian. We're happy to give you a demo and answer any questions you have about this feature. The next, I want to talk about the free trials. Free trials these days are absolutely essential for any software procurement. We hear from customers that they are constantly evaluating hundreds of different SaaS solutions to understand what would help them quickly build cost-effective and scalable products. And architects and developers who are tasked with building the solutions using SaaS, they tell us that free trials are essential, but it also brings a number of challenges. The first challenge is that when you're operating at scales, evaluating dozens or hundreds of solutions, you need to go across multiple websites, vendor websites, searching for free trials, reading through the terms and conditions, understanding what is included in the free trial. And sometimes many vendors do not offer the self-service free trials. You need to reach out to their sales teams. It takes days, sometimes weeks, to negotiate the terms of our free trials. That's not working. That's adding up time to your procurement cycle. The second challenge, when you get the free trial started, it's hard to keep a track of when it expires, what you have consumed, are you going to be charged for any overages after the free trial period? That gives a hard time to the procurement teams to keep the track of all the free trials. And finally, once you completed a free trial and you decided that you want the software, and especially on the enterprise level, where the credit cards are not enough for the size of your purchase, you have to start the separate billing relationship with the vendor. All this together adds up days, weeks to your procurement cycles. Free trials in AWS Marketplace is the special pricing type for SaaS, which allows you to improve procurement by evaluating software before committing to a purchase. It's very easy to find the free trials. I'll give you a video demo on how that works, the full cycle. The free trials have a special badge and also available through filter. For SaaS contracts, when you go to the product detail page, you will see the try for free button. And you can be completely sure that this trial will be absolutely free. No overages, no infrastructure cost, nothing. So this is, if your developers want to try the software, they can start it in a few clicks, and you can be sure that your company won't be charged. There is nothing will appear on your AWS bill unless you decide to convert to a paid purchase. The second benefit is that you have full control. When you're starting free trials from AWS Marketplace, you have access to this information through a single dashboard in the Marketplace console. You can review terms, you can review what is included in a free trial, you can view duration, and make a decision what do you want to do next with this trial. And once you're ready to buy, you can, in 2 clicks, purchase the public offer that is available from the ISV, or if you have negotiated a private offer, you can immediately convert from a free trial to a private offer. And we'll be talking more about private offers at the end of our session today. So let me give you a quick video demo of how the free trial works end to end. I hope you'll find it simple enough. This is a marketplace search page. So on the left side, you have filters. We're selecting SaaS. We're looking at the contracts today, and we're selecting the free trials. Here you can see the catalog of product that supports the free trial. They have a special badge indicating these products can be purchased for free. Each AWS account can purchase one free trial per each product. So if you want to use a free trial again, you need to reach out to the vendor or use a different AWS account to start over. And I apologize, I accidentally went back. Here we go. So once you're on a product detail page, you will see the try for free button. This will take you to the procurement page where you can review the terms of your free trial. On the left side, you can see the duration of your free trial and which units or dimensions are included into this free trial. On the right side, you will see a confirmation that this is $0. You won't be charged. And from there, you can create a contract. So accepting the contract terms, you now can have access to the software. By clicking in the setup the product, you will be taken to the vendor's page where you can start using the SaaS software. But I also want to show you how this experience looks like in the AWS console. So this is a marketplace console. All the free trials have an indication that this product is a current trial. You can see the duration and the key terms. And when you go into the details, here you can see what is included in a free trial. And on the top of this page, you can click View Purchase Options, which will enable you to buy the paid version of the product. And as I mentioned before, there are 2 options. You can either purchase directly a public offer that is available to all customers, or if you have negotiated a private offer, you can select it from the drop-down menu and accept it as well. As easy, with 2 clicks, you can upgrade from a free trial to a paid offer. To get started with the free trials, again, I know we love QR codes. Another QR code which will give you a shortcut to the products, SaaS products which supports free trials. And here are some of the vendors which offer SaaS contracts with absolutely free trials. Next, we'll talk about purchase order management. And we hear from the enterprise customers that operating the large software portfolios and large software budgets is challenging because you have to deal with things like allocating software spend to specific internal budgets, tracking those spends against those budgets, manually reconcile invoices, which all adds up to the procurement cycle and requires more resources from your procurement teams. Many of the customers are using purchase orders to help with this. And AWS Marketplace for SaaS specifically supports self-service purchase order management. This is a feature that enables you to enter transaction-specific purchase order numbers when you're creating a SaaS contract in AWS Marketplace. It has a number of benefits. It is fully self-service. You need to set up the purchase order management once, and then you can use it for every SaaS contract purchase. It gives you a consolidated view within the AWS purchase order management console. And it allows you to easily reconcile your invoices. Currently, this feature is available only for SaaS contracts. We will be expanding it to other pricing types, including the pay-as-you-go products. But it's available both for public offers and private offers. And administrators with access to the AWS billing console can view the purchase order numbers entered by their organization in the purchase order management console. All invoices of the transactions will reflect the entered purchase order number provided by the user when creating contract in Marketplace. It's very easy to get started. The first step, and you need to do it only once, you need to create a service-linked role to give AWS Marketplace access to make changes in AWS billing and cost management system. It's taken a few clicks and just a couple of minutes. And then, as you can see in a screenshot, in the in the lower right section of the screen, there is a purchase order number field, which when you add during the contract creation, will then appear in the billing and cost management console in AWS. So to summarize, purchase order management can help you to add purchase order numbers, not to the invoice overall, but to the specific items on this invoice to every single purchase, and can help your procurement teams track the spend against your budgets and internal tools. With that, we'll wrap up with the procurement section. And next, I want to talk about how AWS Marketplace can help you accelerate SaaS configuration. And we hear that from customers that especially those operating at scale using many different SaaS solutions for their AWS workloads, that for certain categories of SaaS, for example, in monitoring or security, configuring and launching the software can be challenging. And first, there is lack of guidance in how to set up the SaaS, what set of resources needs to be created in your AWS environment, and on the SaaS side, what kind of connections you need to create between the software and your AWS environment. Second are security considerations. If you're using the third-party configurations in place, like Terraform modules or other solutions, you have to be sure that it's entirely secure to use for your organization. And all this adds up to a lengthy process. which can take hours, sometimes days, between when you purchase the software and when your developers and builders can actually get access to the fully working solution that can bring value to your organization. AWS Marketplace offers easy SaaS configuration for the software vendors like Palo Alto Networks, Datadog, New Relic, or Elastic Cloud. You can get started from subscription to the fully configured solution in less than 5 minutes. After subscribing to a SaaS product in AWS Marketplace, you will be offered to, and I'll also give you a demo of how this exactly works, but you will be offered to create an ISV account, which will link the accounts between the software solution and AWS. And then you will be offered an AWS Cloud Formation template, which in a few clicks will configure all the underlying infrastructure, resources, and configuration between the SaaS solution and your AWS environment. Let me give you an example of how that works for Elastic Cloud, which is available in AWS Marketplace. If you would purchase Elastic and you want to use it for AWS outside of AWS Marketplace, you would have to go through a number of manual steps. You would need to set up a new account with Elastic. You would need to verify your email. You will then need to create an Elastic Stack deployment on the Elastic Cloud's interface. Then you need to start adding to the newly created Elastic Stack instance the data sources. So, for example, this could include configuring one or more services like Amazon S3 or EC2 or CloudWatch, so the data could flow from your AWS account into the Elastic. The time it takes to accomplish this configuration, it varies, but it can take from hours to days. That's what we heard from the customers using the service. With AWS, I'll give you a video demo. With Elastic Cloud available in AWS Marketplace, this process takes a few clicks and less than 5 minutes. Let me show you how exactly that works. So we're starting on the Elastic product detail page. The first step, you're subscribing to the service. You review the terms, conditions, pricing, you click subscribe. At that moment, you're entitled to use the service. Then you're offered to set up the software. From here, you'll be taken to the configuration page, which will offer you step-by-step instructions on how to configure the solution. The first step would be for you to review the permissions that you need to have to provision their underlying resources. When you click the permission link, it will open up a help panel, which will show you all the permissions you need to have to configure the service. You can review these permissions and also check it against what is currently attached to your user or role that is logged into the AWS console. If you realize that you do not have some of those permissions, and you don't, for example, you do not have admin level permissions, or there is another person in your organization who's usually responsible for doing such configuration, you can always pass this step to your IT admin by sharing a link to them, and they will directly go to this page. The next step, you're offered to create an account. So when you click create an account, you're staying within Marketplace context, you're entering your email address and password, and that will immediately spin up the Elastic Cloud account for you. So when you click sign up, it takes a couple of seconds, and from here you can see that the account is successfully created. From here on, you can continue to AWS Marketplace, and you will see that accounts are linked. And what that means is that the vendor has passed us the configuration information, which would be used in the next steps. And this information, this account linking, will be available for 7 days between the moment when you completed the step, when you can proceed to the next step. The next step, you're offered to use a CloudFormation template to provision all the resources and infrastructure. You'll be taken to the CloudFormation console. This is a quick stack create page, a single page. You can optionally configure the network configuration, and then when you scroll down, you just need to accept that there will be resources created in your account and click create the stack. So actually, what's going to happen, the CloudFormation will provision resources in your account in AWS, as well as it will spin up the instance in Elastic Cloud. This is taking a couple of minutes, and usually 2 to 3 minutes, and from here on, you can launch the product. You'll be taken to the Elastic page, to the Elastic Cloud interface, and from here on, you can start using it. Let me show you how it's going to look like. So there's already a deployment created. It will take a couple of minutes to finish that, and from there on, you can start using the service. So to summarize, for the vendors like Palo Alto Networks, Datadog, New Relic, Elastic Cloud, and others, this configuration can help you to save a lot of time for your developers manually configuring the infrastructure and accelerate your time to value between when you purchase the software and when it's fully configured and ready for you to use. If you have any questions about this particular solution, feel free to stop by at the Marketplace booth or Elastic Cloud booth. They're happy to tell you more about how that works. And with that, I pass it back to Mira to walk us through how to get started with Marketplace.
Thank you. Thank you, Andre. Thank you all for listening. And that was such inspiring how we can go from a free trial to being in production in a few clicks. And I was just about to fall on camera. All right. So let's get started. When we talk about transformation, and I've been talking about that transformation of organizations and how we are changing our procurement, and we're helping our organization changing their procurement. What's that journey look like? How does it start? What we have seen that customers usually start from a basic or from a broad need from infrastructure. It can be developers who are trying to build a foundation for major migrations. It can be a line of business looking to acquire a fit-for-purpose SaaS application. It can be security-driven, with many ISVs keeping our customers' IT environment safe. Or when the contracts become very large in value and we need to do a lot of negotiations in terms of custom terms and custom pricing, this is when we work with the legal department, with the procurement department and IT finance to secure that type of deal going on. And last but not least, in 2019, we started working with the chief data officers to be able to meet all the needs of all the line of businesses, all departments within the enterprise to meet them where they are. I really encourage you, regardless where you are, go visit our website, search our catalog, look at those fantastic partners that are doing multiple things to keep your environment up and running and help you with that transformation. In security, Palo Alto, CrowdStrike, Trend Micro, one of our top ISVs in that category, or business applications. Look at Apptio or Adobe. Industries like Bosch, database like Databricks, MongoDB, storage like Druva or NetApp. All of those ISVs are currently available on AWS Marketplace, where you can start trying their solutions and then work with them on acquiring that solution. I think the question is, when the time comes to make that purchase, when you have already done the free trial, worked with the ISVs, understood that this is what you want to do, how can we make that happen? AWS Marketplace, we have multiple ways for customers to procure software, professional services, as I mentioned, machine learning modules and all of that. The first thing, how we started, was self-serve. You can go to AWS Marketplace and do a purchase right there and then. For bigger contracts, and if you have negotiation power with a certain ISVs, or you want to have your own terms and conditions, you can work with an ISV and they can extend a private offer to you where they can upload those specific customized terms. Or you can work with your channel partner. Maybe you're using an MSP, maybe you're using a consulting partner that help you with the consolidation of billing and managing the environment end to end. Work with your consulting partners as well, because they have the power to extend that private offer to you on behalf of the ISV. Remember, if there's an ISV that you really want to work with and they're not on AWS Marketplace, let us know. We're actively recruiting ISVs and channel partners every day. I'm just going to double click on a seller private offer. And a seller private offer is, as I mentioned, is our customized way to meet the customers where they want us to be in terms of pricing, in terms of special terms and conditions, and that gives the power to the ISV to do that negotiations and upload those specific terms into a private offer and push it to the customer. And they send you a link and you can subscribe. So we're trying to shorten the amount, the time that's taken for procurement. I come from a sales background, and I say that the worst thing that can happen, the worst time in a deal is the negotiation time, because this is the time that there's no business impact. I want to shorten that negotiation time, but at the same time, I want that negotiation and those contracts to be in favor of my customers. And the seller private offers and the consulting partner private offers is the place for you to have that power of negotiations with your ISVs in terms of security, in terms of admin rights, in terms of who manages what, and of course, pricing differentiation as well. The beauty of the private offers is shorten the billing cycle. It's also puts you in a position of receiving fewer bills because we can send the bill to you directly. You can have multiple private offers. A consulting partner can even pick the bill on your behalf if you have such a relationship with them. With that, I would ask each and every one of you, go visit our catalog. Look at AWS Marketplace. Look through those ISV lists. Let us know if there's an ISV that you want that's not there today. Look at the channel partners that we have a conversation with them and ask them how they can set up an environment for you so you can try more and more AWS Marketplace third-party software. Define key use cases for you to pilot and innovate with our third-party software ready to use data and professional service. And last but not least, please visit us in the expo, engage with an AWS employee today. We're happy to be there to support you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining.